Hi everybody. I hope you and your families are well. I hope that you're trying to enjoy this Easter weekend in the sunshine with your families in your gardens. I really miss you all. I was going to try and read the rest of Percy Jackson with you so that we could share it together because it has taken us such a long time to get through. However, you do know that the chapters are very long and it was taking me 30 minutes of video time to get through a chapter, something which I couldn't send through on my phone to Mr. Malthouse. So I'm going to photocopy the chapters and send them with your next learning pack. And I have put a little sort of blurb on the website just so that you can see where we were up to just before we finished school. In the meantime, I'm going to try and record some other texts for you to listen to and share along with me. And these would have been texts that we would have covered during the year. Once again, I just want you to know how much I miss you. Can't wait to see your faces. Keep well, everybody. Stay safe. See you soon. Okay, so the first text I'm going to try and read with you is The Strange Case of Origami Yoda by Tom Engelberger. Now it looks like Tom Engelberger has got a series of books that I think some of you would really find interesting. Bear with my eyesight. One of them is called Darth Paper Strikes Back, The Secrets of Fortune Wookiee, R2-D2's Guide to Folding and Doodling, The Surprise Attack of Jabba the Puppet, Princess Label Maker to the Rescue, and Emperor Pickletine Rides the Bus. Okay, let's have a look at the blurb. Meet Dwight, the class oddball. Dwight does a lot of weird things, like wearing the same t-shirt for a month or telling people to call him Captain Dwight. This is embarrassing, particularly for Tommy, who sits with him every lunch. But Dwight does one cool thing. He makes origami. One day he makes an origami finger puppet of Yoda. And that's when things get mysterious. Origami Yoda can predict the future and suggest the best way to deal with a tricky situation. His advice actually works, and soon most of his classmates are lining up with questions. Tommy wants to know how Origami Yoda can be so smart, when Dwight himself is so clueless. Is Yoda tapping into the Force? It's crucial that Tommy figure out the mystery before he takes Yoda's advice about something very important. That has to do with a girl. This is Tommy's case file of his investigation info. The Strange Case of Origami Yoda. As we read in the blurb, this book is a case file about different events that happen to different characters. And one of the main characters is Dwight. And Dwight is a bit unusual and a bit strange, and he's the character that made the finger puppet of Yoda. Chapter 1. Origami Yoda and Dwight. The big question. Is Origami Yoda real? Well, of course he's real. I mean, he's a real finger puppet made out of a real piece of paper. What I mean, is he real? Does he really know things? Can he see the future? Does he use the Force? Or is he just a hoax that fooled the whole bunch of us at Macquarie Middle School? It's really important for me to figure out if he's real, because I've got to decide whether to take his advice or not. And if I make the wrong choice, I'm doomed. I don't want to get into all that yet, so for now, let's just say it's about this really cool girl, Sarah, and whether or not I should risk making a fool of myself for her. Origami Yoda says to do it, but if he's wrong, total humiliation. So I've got to know if he's real. I need solid answers. I need scientific evidence. That's why I went around and asked everybody who got help from Origami Yoda to tell their stories. Then I put all the stories together in this case file. Who knows, maybe this case file could even be useful if scientists ever decide to study Origami Yoda. To try to make it really scientific, I let my best friend Harvey comment on each story. Harvey has never ever believed in Origami Yoda, even for 1 second, and he still doesn't. In fact, he says he is 100% sure that Origami Yoda is just a green paper wad. So we tried to find the logical explanation for all the really weird things that happened. And then I commented on each story too, because after all, I'm the one who's trying to figure out this whole thing out. My other friend, Kellen, wanted to help too, so I let him borrow the case file. Instead of adding anything useful, he just doodled all over it. I was mad at first, but actually some of the doodles almost looked like people from school, so I didn't bother trying to erase them. And anyway, I don't have to have time for that. I've got to study this thing and make a decision. Is Origami Yoda real or isn't he? Oh yeah, one other thing, I almost forgot about Dwight. Dwight is the guy who carries Origami Yoda around on his finger. The strangest thing about Origami Yoda is that he is so wise even though Dwight is a total loser. I'm not saying that as an insult, it's just a fact. Dwight never seems to do anything right. Always in trouble, always getting harassed by other kids, always picking his nose, always finding a way to ruin it for everyone, as the teachers say. If he would just listen to Origami Yoda's wisdom like the rest of us, he would have made it. But no. He ends up barfing in class because he's ate 13 servings of canned peaches at lunch, or stealing a girl's shoe, or wearing shorts with his socks pulled up above his knees. He even manages to turn his good points into loser points. See, he is the total origami master of our school. First he made cranes and frogs and all that, then he started inventing his own stuff. Origami Yoda is not just a perfect paper version of Yoda, he's also Dwight's own design. Dwight's not the first person in the world to make an Origami Yoda, of course. There are a bunch of them on the internet. But Dwight didn't download instructions, he actually created his own Origami Yoda. But it's one thing to make a paper Yoda, and it's another to ask people to talk to it. That's what makes him a loser. You can't go around school with a paper Yoda on your finger talking to people. I bet even Origami Yoda would tell him that, if he would just listen. Anyway, here's the first story, which happens to be about a girl, not the girl, and shows how good it can be to listen to what Origami Yoda has to say. Chapter 2, Origami Yoda and the Night of Fun. And you can see this chapter is about Tommy. It was the night of the April PTA Fun Night, the monthly dance in the school cafeteria. Everybody comes to the PTA Fun Night. I don't know why. I don't even know why I go. I hate them. And so do a bunch of us who don't dance or flirt or do public displays of affection. The cafeteria has a stage at one end of for assemblies, and if you don't want to dance, you can sort of sit on the edge of the stage. Some people dance, some people walk around, we sit on the edge of the stage. There's usually me and my best friends, Kellen and Harvey. Harvey is the tall one who smirks with the smirk on his face. Kellen is the dim one who is trying to look cool by nodding his head to the music. I'm the short one with hair that's a pain in the butt to try to keep combed. And then there's Lance, Mike and Quavondo. They're on the stage because most people won't talk to them. Why not? Because Lance is weird and Mike cries all the time and Quavondo is the famous Cheeto hog. They're social outcasts. I don't know why they come to Fun Night because they have even less of a chance of dancing with a girl than I do. There are a few girls who sit there too, like Cassie and Caroline. I don't know why they sit on the stage. Just shy or something, I guess. I don't think they even talk to each other. And there's Dwight, of course. I know we already look like nerds sitting on the stage like that, but Dwight somehow makes us look worse. At last month's Fun Night, he suddenly decided he could dance, and he started doing this weird jumping around thing. Wait, it gets worse. He bumped into this popular girl, Jennifer, who was carrying a drink from the snack table, and made her spill it. It gets worse still. Dwight goes, "I'll clean it up," and jumps on the floor and scooches around in his stomach. Then he stands up with a huge wet spot on his shirt and starts dancing again. Believe it or not, it gets worse still, because he says to Jennifer, "Would you care to dance, my lady?" After she says, no way, he walks back over to us, with everybody watching. "Man, you're just embarrassing us," Harvey said. Why do you even try? Nobody's ever going to dance with you. Why can't you just play it cool? You mean just stand here doing nothing like you guys do? Asked Dwight. Okay. And he froze right there and stood there the rest of the night without moving. He was still standing there when I left. As far as I know, that's the only time any of us from the stage had ever asked a girl to dance. It's not that we don't want to. In fact, we spend most of each fun night debating whether we should, and wishing a girl would just come up and ask us instead. One time, I almost got Kellen to ask Rondella to dance, but his mother came to pick him up right before he was about to do it. This time, Kellen and Harvey were trying to get me to ask Hannah, who was hanging around between the stage and the snack table. She's just standing there all by herself, said Kellen. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she likes you, said Harvey. I know better than to trust Harvey, but I was kind of tempted. I mean, Hannah's not the girl I like best. That's Sarah, who I'm 100% afraid to ask to dance. But Hannah's always been pretty nice to me. Maybe she would say yes. Then maybe Sarah would see us dancing and get jealous and decide she wanted to dance with me too. And then she would ask me, and I wouldn't have to ask her. After all these times of just standing there watching, just the idea of finally asking a girl to dance made me start to get all freaky. Even if it wasn't Sarah, it was still a girl, and it would still be dancing. Thank goodness the PTA fun night never has any slow dances where you touch each other. My hands were shaking and my stomach was excited, like the time my dad accidentally drove into a fire hydrant. Yes, I thought, this is my chance. I'm going to do it. I was actually starting to walk over to Hannah when Dwight hopped off the stage and stopped me. Better ask Origami Yoda first. Ugh, can't you crawl back into your hole, said Harvey. Didn't you embarrass us all enough last time? Maybe I'm here to stop you from getting embarrassed, said Dwight. Then he held up his right hand, and there was his paper Yoda finger puppet on his finger. Ask Origami Yoda. Now, we'd all seen Origami Yoda before, but this was the first time Dwight had asked us to talk to it. It was a historic moment, but I didn't know it then. Would you put that away? Hissed Harvey. You're making us all look like losers. Fine, said Dwight, and then he started to walk away. I just thought Tommy needed some help. He needs all the help he can get, said Kellen. What's your advice? I don't have any advice, said Dwight. But Origami Yoda does. Then Dwight wiggled his finger puppet and made this weird squeaky voice. Rush in, fools do. Is that supposed to sound like Yoda? Said Harvey. That's the worst Yoda impression I've ever heard. Here's what Yoda sounds like. And Harvey started repeating every Yoda line from every Star Wars movie. But Kellen and I ignored him and started trying to figure out the advice. Yoda always mixes up his words up, I said. So, I bet he really meant fools are in the rush. That makes it sound like I would be a fool to rush over there and ask Hannah to dance. Yeah, I agree, said Mike. He and Quavondo and all the kids on the stage were listening. The whole thing was getting really embarrassing. Are you saying he shouldn't do it? Asked Cassie. I'm not saying anything, said Dwight. Origami Yoda is. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life, said Harvey, who had finally stopped his Yoda impression. Tommy, if you miss dancing with Hannah because of Dwight's green paper wad, then you're a super fool. Go do it. Just hold on a minute, I said. There's no need for me to rush over there. Dude, you're looking for an excuse to be a chicken, said Kellen, pushing me. Go ask her. Give me a minute. Just then, this seventh grader, Mark, who is about 2 feet taller than me, comes in and Hannah practically runs over to grab him. And they kiss each other right there in the lunchroom, which is a public display of affection and totally against the rules, and furthermore disgusting to watch. Good thing you listened to Origami Yoda, said Dwight. Yes, it was a good thing. It was a great thing. Can you imagine if I had been asking her to dance when that big stud guy came along? Man, she would have knocked me down to get at him, and I would have been a laughingstock. Harvey would have been going wild with that big donkey laugh of his. Even Kellen would have been busting a gut. So basically, Origami Yoda saved my butt. That's when I started listening to Origami Yoda, and eventually a lot of other people did too. So this is Harvey's comment. Oh yes, I believe in Paperwad Yoda, woo. I believe he's a real, actual, genuine piece of paper stuck on the end of Dwight's real, actual, genuine finger. And I believe Dwight is the real, actual, genuine, biggest nut since Mr. Peanut. But do I believe there's something magic about Paperwad Yoda? Of course not. That's stupid. Even the real Yoda is not real. He's a puppet in some movies and just a computer thing in others. And even if Yoda was real, he lives in a galaxy far, far away. I think he'd have better things to do than tell Tommy not to make a fool of himself. Speaking of which, remember Yoda's advice. Rush in, fools do. That's not even a Yoda quote. My stepdad told me Fools Rush In is from a song Elvis Presley sang in the 1960s. And this is his comment, Tommy's comment. My comment, okay, Dwight is weird. I already said that, but his advice was really, really good. And Yoda's not a paperwad, he's origami, and he really looks like Yoda. But I can't decide if Harvey is right or not. I mean, I don't actually believe in real magic, but Origami Yoda has done some pretty amazing things. Not long after he helped me, he saved Kellen from making a gigantic fool of himself.